All right, everybody, welcome back to Bourbon Over Baseball with your host Bob, co-host Peter and Matt today. We're going to go over Peter's all-decade teams and a preview for his upcoming season. And he's been wanting to get this together. You guys have probably seen his voting on Twitter and other cards that he's posted here and there. But Peter's going to kind of run us through this. We made some predictions, and he wants to sort of break this down for anybody that wants a little bit more information. So, Peter, tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so first off, thanks for everyone who voted. We had great participation throughout for voting for spots on the team, stuff like that. I figured, at the end of 2019, it'd be fun to do a celebration of really 10 years of Showdown being back. The 2010 quote-unquote set was the first one that Colby and Company made over at the MLB Showdown blog. They made them, and so the 2010 cards were really from 2009, but made for 10 sets overall, and just kind of took players from that. And a big shout out to Colby for making all those cards charts, and then Matty Penneritz for all his artwork and being very generous in sharing cards from the 2013, 14, and 15 sets to join into everything. So, yeah, these are super teams. No point limits. It's the best of the best for every franchise. And as you guys know, when we see the team points, they range from like just over 6,500 to over 8,000. So real differentiation in team points as we go on. But Matt, any team that you were surprised at being so many points?
Probably for me it was Arizona.
Oh yeah.
Because everybody else has kind of done something this decade that's up there.
Yeah.
Probably Arizona and Cincinnati.
Cincinnati shocked me. I can't believe how good Cincinnati looks to be. And so these overall power rankings at the beginning that we have here aren't just pure points wise, and that it surprised me even more that Arizona finished seventh in just pure power rankings when comparing each position to other players and stuff like that. And I think a big part of that, obviously, you got Goldschmidt, and then the number 2 overall pick in your draft, Ketel Marte.
Yeah.
Playing second base is huge.
And he's gonna be a stud. And he already got traded in our league, so.
Oh wow.
How much trading has gone on in that league?
I think there was 4 or 5 trades total, maybe 6, but the amount of waiver pickups is blowing my mind.
Well, that's what's funny, because it's you did the draft, but what did you even do?
There's a couple teams that only after all the waivers and stuff have 8 guys left from their 20 picks or 18 picks.
And that's what I like about my league is there's no wavering, there's no trading. It's just everybody is set and ready to go. So if we go down and we look at the best hitting, so we've got all the points by hitting.
All right, let me scroll down real quick. Hold on, my son. Yeah. If anybody else hears, my son is chiming in with his crying for this podcast.
But we'll wants to talk.
He's a Yankee fan, it seems like.
Let's see here. So we're at the hitting.
Oh yeah. So the Red Sox blowing everybody's doors off with the most hitting, and I think that's why. Remember, do both of you guys have the Red Sox in the World Series?
I don't.
You do not. Bob,
I thought I did.
Yeah. So I mean, it's hard to argue with a lineup this good. You've got superstar Jacoby Ellsbury leading it off. You got Mookie Betts, MVP caliber season. Well, he won the MVP. That on base 11, super card, followed by JD Martinez. You got Big Poppy in there. I think Adrian Beltre is batting 8. It's an on base 9, homer at 18, double at 14. This is an absolutely stacked team. They've got 7 on base 10 or better guys. Yeah, I understand, but
are most of them from that World Series run?
Let me pull them up. I think they're kind of balanced.
Okay.
A lot of them are from 2000 and 10 or 11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the World Series team, the 2013 team, I don't think has anyone on it. We've got so it's Ellsbury, Pedroia, Betts, JD, Ortiz from 2016. Last year, Xander Bogaerts, who was an absolute beast at shortstop. Then you got 2010 Kevin Youkilis, Beltre or Devers, but either one. And then last year's Christian Vasquez, who had on the 7 card with a good arm, but he gets on at 3 homers at 16, doubles at 12, dangerous number 9 hitter. And then they've got speed at the top. 22, 18, 22, and then you just got so many mashers in the middle. So it's deep, and nobody from 2013, two guys from 2018.
It's just interesting looking at this batting thing, because usually you just look at it and go, top teams are going to be teams that spent the most money.
Yeah.
But, like, there's, like, random teams at the bottom here, like San Fran, Atlanta, who are usually big spenders. St. Louis.
Yeah. And I think the Cardinals lineup is going to be better than the points would. I mean, and it's still, if you just think about your typical 5,000-point team, so, like, you think about the worst lineup here is 3,330 points.
Yeah.
Like, it gets insane. I think, like, the Astros at 3,930, very deceiving because the fans voted for Martin Maldonado and his plus 10 arm to be their catcher.
Oh, good point.
The other 8 hitters are 3,880 points, which is staggering. Like, if they had the 300-point catcher, they would be the number 6 lineup.
Yeah, that's actually a good point to if people are looking at this. That, remember, half of this was fan voted on. A lot of it was Peter picking just obviously the surefire go-tos. Yeah. But if a fan picked a different one, that's what made the team. I mean, that's what everyone was voting on. Actually, I think the voting was one of the most fun things to see on Twitter.
And it was so fun to bring back guys from random seasons and then just getting to see the different strategies that fans like to employ. It really, really connected with me how much people value catcher arms. And I guess it is more important with my league because I don't have a steal limit on. But most people have like 3 steals per game as your max.
Yeah.
And like,
I used to have 5 in my league, but I just went to like real baseball and I'm like, no one is averaging 5 stolen bases a game.
Yeah.
Like in real baseball.
Do you guys have a lineup you think is going to surprise people or won't do as well as the points indicate?
Oh, didn't I pick the Rangers to go real far?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think they were going to be really good. I don't know about surprising. I mean, they have 3990, but they just look
they're
like
out
a
of the
solid
top
team.
10.
What's up?
They're out of the top 10 points-wise, I think. Yeah, they're number 12. Oh, I guess they're tied for 10.
Yeah, but I just think they're gonna. I think they were in my top 4 overall, but I think they will surprise a lot of people when they look at Texas, going, what are they doing? But I don't know.
Yeah.
And then who knows? Maybe they'll get Nolan Arenado and make it even better.
Man, when you look at like Mike Napoli, who people forget was so dominant for the Rangers. Like
he's their catcher, isn't he?
Yeah, that 2011 card.
You just get that power hitting catcher that can actually play defense too. Like, it's such a game changer.
And I know that they are the number 5 lineup, but I'm still shocked at how good the Twins all-decade lineup is. Mostly because it is like 2/3 2019 Twins.
Well, yeah, and it's just gonna get better with Donaldson.
Yeah, it's just like it's so stunning that they were that good last year that they can make up. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the 9 spots on the Twins all-decade team, and that all-decade team is one of the best from a pure hitting perspective. So, like, last year's, I think we underestimate how historic they were just because of the small sample size against the Yankees that somehow didn't work out when they were facing all those guys with home runs on their charts.
But the Twins are going to be good, and they're going to be good this year.
I think as my fun team that I'm excited to see what happens, I love the Marlins just because of that Stanton card.
Yeah, and all the on-base 9s with big home runs. That's going to be really fun. I'm surprised Ozuna, Ugla. And,
Ugla.
They've just got so many guys. My surprise team they're at the very bottom of the points total. I think the Royals are going to be good.
Just because of their pitching?
I think they're going to be better than we think hitting wise.
Oh, okay.
And
Not in a they're not going to hit a bunch of bombs. Jorge Soler obviously has a huge home run chart, but they've got so much speed, like throughout, just so much speed. I think they're going to get on base enough with all these nines. I think a lot of guys base running wise are going to come off of pitchers charts in general in the league, and I think the Royals are going to small ball their way to a surprising amount of success in a very very contentious AL Central. Like this, the hardest division to call because as team points, it's pretty congested. I mean, like power ranking wise, the top AL Central team is the Twins and then the Indians, and they're at 16, 17. Like everyone is pretty tightly compacted, and technically the Royals are at the bottom, but I don't know. I see this lineup, and I think it's gonna surprise some people.
Yeah.
I could see it too.
Very
Because
field.
when I did that first cup with like just the World Series winners and stuff, they looked exactly the same. Their points per hitting were terrible, but for some reason they just kept scoring and shutting people out when their bullpen came in.
Yeah, they hit a lot of singles and a lot of doubles.
And
Didn't they have a lot of
Not
speed?
a lot of home runs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kane and
Zobrist.
Zobrist.
And
Then
now
you
they
had
add Whit
Merrifield.
Merrifield. Alex Gordon's pretty fast. Hunter Dozier's pretty quick. Hosmer's a speed B at least. And then add Adalberto Mondesi is the only on base 6 in the All Decade League, but speed 24. So I think they'll be competitive.
It's kind of it's hard. It's most of it's gonna be a twin cost because everyone is so good.
Yeah. So, contentious team, good or not good, the Tigers. I don't know if you guys, they're like the second team I put out. They've got so many good on base 10 hitters, and then some really good on base 8s, but they have almost no speed.
Oh, interesting.
Like you got Austin Jackson leading it off.
Oh, like
speed
Victor
8,
Martinez and stuff.
Yep, speed 8 Victor.
Ugh.
Speed 11 but I mean Miggy's so good. But they've got 3 on base 10s, and then super hitting JD Martinez as an on base 8, and then Prince Fielder's a 10, and Alex Avila's a 10.
They're so dirty though.
Yeah, they're gonna be slow, and they've got a negative. Oh my God, the outfield is rough. +1 is their outfield defense.
Ugh.
Yeah. At least they've got a +10 infield D, but the outfield's gonna be brutal.
All right, let's switch over to the pitching then. So we scroll down.
Yeah.
What are these numbers then ranked by?
Yeah. So it's by tier. So if you've been following the blog, you know that we talk about tiers a lot. When we look at drafting, a lot of times we discuss picking by tier, and so that's by how many control plus outs a guy gives up on his chart. So like Pedro Martinez, control 5 gives up 3 like hits on his chart. So a total of 8 is a tier 1. A tier 0 would be a guy who's like control 5 gives up 2 hitters, or control 6 gives up 3. So that, and so forth and so forth. So like Randy Johnson in the original is a tier 2. And so here I took all the rotation and bullpen guys and added up the tiers of their pitchers. And holy shit, the Rays are really good. Like, so it was the
And
tiers,
the Twins
and then
stand out too.
yeah. So the Twins are absolute garbage. I believe they have like their best pitcher is a tier 3, and I think they have a tier 4 in their rotation, which is brutal.
Yeah, it's rough in this league.
And so, like, in this one, it's literally by points where I compare each, like, you're assigned based on comparative value. So, like, your ace versus their ace, like, within your division and stuff. The Rays are this much better than everyone else in the AL East, which has,
Wow.
Chris Sale, and Roy Halladay and some really good relievers from the Orioles and Yankees, and they're that good. They've got all control 6 in the rotation. So Cy Young, Blake Snell's a tier 1. Then you have last year's Glass now, rounding it out as a tier 1, and in between is Matt Moore, who somehow got a tier 2 control 6, and also David Price, of course. What a stud. So, and it is interesting. We use cards from Colby's league in this, and I'm not sure how he calculated his starting and relief pitching. I don't think they use tiers, and so there's some anomalies to me, like Giovanni Gallardo somehow got a tier 2 for the Brewers, as did Willie Peralta, when they both had like ERAs close to 4. But those were the best cards that we had for these teams from the decade, so we used them.
Yeah.
Which helped like J.A. Happ and a really good A.J. Burnett for the Pirates, who have very good pitching. It's going to be interesting. I feel like hitting is going to matter more because almost everyone has really good pitching. Like even the bad teams, I know it's like, a control 3 on at 18. That's still a good pitcher.
Yeah, but there's a big jump there for the Twins.
Yeah, they are really bad.
Like
their lineup, really good.
And you're talking about the same difference between 1 and 2 is 29 and 30.
Yeah, it's really bad, and they're legitimately almost 3 times worse than the Rays.
Wow.
But I mean, you gotta love the Nationals, and you have to be really impressed with the Royals bullpen, considering their starting pitching is pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they do have Cy Young Greinke. They have Johnny Cueto from the trade deadline, who's somehow a tier 1, and James Shields and Yordano Ventura. So it's not like a amazing rotation, but it's good enough to get it to the guys we all remember pushing them to a World Series title.
Just make it to the 6th inning.
Yeah, if they do that, they're gonna win. To me, the biggest surprise here is the Phillies, who I think have, when I think of the best pitching teams of the decade, the Phillies are my first thought.
Yeah, they're middle of the pack.
Yeah, which, you think about the Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, Cole Hamels, Roy Oswalt days, and here they have Aaron Nola, who is a stud.
Yeah.
So it's going to be. I mean, they're right behind the Rangers somehow. I don't know how that happened, but it's going to be interesting. And I think part of that too is because they're in a division with the Nationals, Braves, and Mets, who fell down quite a ways just because their pitching tier, the controls are low, and their bullpen's back end is terrible.
I think what makes it, like, when making the teams, it's funny how you were saying, like, nobody from the Red Sox 2013 team made it.
Yeah.
What I've noticed from making, like, when we were making the World Series winning teams or best teams, those years, it's just who's hot in the playoffs is what gets you to, like, obviously making the playoffs is key, but who's hot is who takes it all the way. So, like, guys' best years are usually not the year that their team wins something.
Which is...
It's just funny how that works out.
It's funny and, like, unfortunate, and it's just, like, I feel bad for the way that we treat teams based on their playoff success.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel too often it's like, this 100-win team lost, they sucked. It's like, no, like, they ended up getting swept in a 3-game series. That just happened to mean more than it did in May.
Right.
It's too bad. And then so after we get to the pitching, there's just I thought some general things that would show strength. So like the top 3 hitters in a lineup. So surprisingly, the Brewers had the best group of 3 hitters, which as a fan, very happy about.
Yeah.
But when you're combining Yelich with
MVP Braun.
Yeah. And then, Prince Fielder is the other one. And like Prince had an on-base 10 homer at 17 season in there as well.
So you have Yelich leading off?
Oh, so it's just like it's top 3 by points.
Oh,
okay.
So
So it's like your 3 best hitters.
Got it.
So like, they're just so down at the top. Yankees, unsurprisingly, number 2. I mean, when you got Aaron Judge, Curtis Granderson, and oh god, who's their third? And it's got to be another absolute beast, probably like A-Rod or something like that.
Are the Twins 3 people all from 2019?
No, because Joe Mauer.
Oh,
is in
that's
there.
right. Oh, yeah.
So that's what's fun is the Twins really maximized where they got, and it was tough. I ended up putting Nelson Cruz in the outfield, gave him -2 fielding to make it fair. But they had their best player is a DH with Nelson Cruz, and then Joe Mauer and Mitch Garver, 2 500-point players, both catchers, and Justin Morneau and Jim Thome, 500-point players, first base. And so I knew that they could only have 4 of those 5 if I moved Nelson to the outfield. And I felt like I should max it because no other team was going to lose 40% of their 500-point players. So that just felt tough. Robbie Cano. Stud Robbie Cano is the 3rd best hitter for the Yankees. Followed closely by Mark Teixeira, who's a beast. God, the bottom of this Yankees lineup, all these on-base 8s that hit homers at ungodly low numbers. They're going to be fun.
That Granderson is like, he's insane.
Yeah, man. I think I'm most surprised that the Dodgers came in 6th. I figured with like Cody Bellinger and all the great players that they've had there, that they'd have a better top Matt Kemp, MVP Matt Kemp. Yeah. But
you look at the teams above them, though, the guys that have been there.
Yeah.
Because, like, the Blue Jays, that's got to be a reminder of what Donaldson and Batista and Edwin were top 3.
Yeah.
Those guys were so good.
They were absolutely. I mean, they had that 2015 team is an absolute legend. Like, it's still one of the best by itself teams. I think the 2016 Cubs were I think the 2019 Astros are the best showdown team I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And following them, I think it's 2016 Cubs, and then I still put the 2015 Blue Jays at the 3 spot, and they are well represented in this. But the Dodgers do make a solid appearance with the rotation that they have. Because, boy, that Kershaw-Greinke pairing is pretty unstoppable.
So this is just two. This is just 2 people, or
no? So this is the whole rotation. I put there's 2 rotations that have 2 tier 1s. And then the Rays also do, but they got talked about earlier.
Yeah.
So you've got DeGrom and Harvey, also a lethal duo. But I love the control. I mean, this is literally the Dodgers have Pedro 01 and Pedro 00 back to back to start out their rotation. And then you mix in tier 2 Walker Buehler and Ryu, and you're set. I was shocked the Mariners rotation ended up as the 2nd most points.
Who's theirs? Is it Felix?
Well, you got King Felix.
Yeah.
Number 1. Then they've got I completely forgot about this card. He was the controversial ones in the 2013 set that Colby made. Iwakuma, who was one of the fan favorites in my little friend group. He's a tier 1, so he's control 6, on at 17, but he's got 2 doubles. But he's IP 7.
Is he the flying salmon, or whatever they called him?
I believe so. He fell off a cliff one season.
Yeah.
Being really good. And so they've got that King Felix from 2010, control 4, on at 18, no doubles, IP 8 for 650 points. And then Cliff Lee, who got a pennant run card from me. He was a control 3, 1 to 18 out, IP 8 for 630 points. Basically, the first 3 guys are all over 600 points, and then tier 2 James Paxton comes in.
Oh yeah, I remember James.
Good. But the problem is you've got 2 control 3s, and your tier 1 guy gives up 2 doubles on his chart. So it's a lot of points. I don't think it's going to be a top half rotation by the time the season's over. Yeah, I think I'm sad to say, but I think the Mariners are going to get absolutely smoked.
Yeah, their division's going to be tough.
The Astros are.
Astros, Rangers, and Oakland.
And the Angels' rotation is really good. Or at least it's the 7th most points, looking at it here. I think they'll be good. Yeah. I was surprised the Giants weren't more. And the Tigers. Those are the teams, like the Phillies, properly number 4. I always think about that Verlander, Scherzer, Sanchez, Fister, Porcello.
Yeah.
And the year that they traded for Price.
Yeah.
Still amazing that they had 4 Cy Young winners in their rotation at once and didn't win. That hurts. Goes
back to who's hot.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason the Giants won anything, because their all-decade team is garbage. It's shocking how mediocre the Giants team is. They've got a good rotation, obviously, thanks to the Lincecum, Kane, Bumgarner. I think Vogelsong ended up getting the 4th spot. Maybe it was Cueto. Yeah, it was Cueto. So Johnny Cueto snuck in there for that 2016 season where it was like, here comes their 4th, and then the Cubs beat them. But, I mean, even MVP Buster Posey, he's really good. The on-base 10 who gets on at 3, but he homers at 19, and he doesn't have much speed. Double at 16, it's like he's a really good player, but in the context of,
All-Star League.
Yeah, where it's like, well, the Dodgers have Matt Kemp from his superstar season hitting there. Yeah. And the D-backs have that Marte and Goldschmidt and that superstar JD Martinez. And the Rockies have Arenado, Charlie Blackmon from his amazing 2017, and like Trevor Story, Mixon. I don't even think they needed Dexter Fowler. Yeah, he got traded before that. Yeah. But like Dexter Fowler might have been on there. They definitely have Carlos Gonzalez from his great seasons. DJ LeMahieu when he led the league in it. Like, these lineups are so deep, and then some of them are just ridiculously powerful. Dodgers are up the level of the Padres, probably, which is not saying a lot. Mike Yastrzemski did make the squad, though, so that's fun. Fun to have a Yastrzemski make the All-Decade League. But yeah, so that's the rotations. We get into bullpens. Holy cow. Yeah. There are some insane bullpens out there.
I would have thought the Royals would have been number 1 just if you'd never asked me, just because that one year they were so good.
But, I mean, just look at the 2 Rays right there, the 2 tier zeros. Like, imagine putting these guys out, and then the other 3 guys are all tier 1.
So is Rodney supposed to be out through 18?
Yes. So that's it. That's a misprint, but he is out through 18. So he's a control 5, 1 to 18 out, no doubles.
Jeez Louise.
And then Benoit, the control 6, 1 to 17 out. And then Rafael Soriano, I believe, is control 5, 1 to 17 out. Wade Davis is control 5, 1 to 17 out.
Is Wade Davis also on the Royals?
Yes. You know what? No, I think Jake McGee is the one who's 1 to 17 because Wade Davis would have been a tier 2, IP2, and I just was like, no, the Rays are just gonna absolutely lean into having the best bullpen. The Royals have an amazing bullpen though.
Yeah.
You got tier 0 Wade Davis in there with the real, and I got the really pretty cards from Matthew from their site, which was fantastic. You got like tier 1 Greg Holland, control 6, on at 17, no doubles. Wade Davis from the World Series champs, control 5, on at 19. Got Kelvin Herrera, control 4, on at 19. Ryan Madsen, control 4, on at 19. And then, like, rounding it out is Luke Hochevar, who's still an IP2, who's a tier 2 control 5. So he's going to be able to eat innings and help out the, like, kind of weaker rotation. And, man, I sneaky in on the Royals. The more I see them, I'm like, it's a mistake, but I love it. The Orioles are going to also be just like a fantastic. The Nationals were the ones that shocked me for having as good of a bullpen as they did.
Yeah.
Well, that's Sean Doolittle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Doolittle, you got
Tyler Clippard.
Clippard's a
Right.
stud. I think Storin and Craig Stamen had like a really good year where they gave him an IP2 as a control 6, which is huge. And then they also had Jonathan Papelbon have a tier 1 year.
Oh, interesting.
And so they're loaded. I love that Doolittle looks like Bob. So that's going to be
Oh yeah.
the go-to closer all the time.
I used to wear glasses.
Yeah, bring him back, man.
No, I got LASIK. Screw that.
Yeah, and then if we just look at because I know people love control, so I had to rank the top 10 bullpens and rotations by control, because I think some people lean that way when they're picking a season. The Rays have the perfect control.
This is the Matt from my league, not Matt, obviously on this podcast, but Matt H is always grabbing sixes. Like
Yeah,
that's his
so
thing.
he would just live and die by this Rays team. I'm still pumped at how the way this Tyler Glasnow card came out, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I love these uniforms. Those socks
Oh yeah.
with this faux throwback hat, incredible.
Yeah, it was a well done. That's the Devil Rays.
Yeah. But then you look at the controls for the bullpen. So I pulled out some of these Orioles here.
What?
Zach Britton.
Oh, that's right. I remember Zach was so dominant too.
Yeah. Look at the card he earned.
Yeah.
Control 6, on at 18, no doubles. Lethal stuff. And then they've got 2 control 6 on at 17 guys. Plus, you know, the guy who really all my friends love, Jim Johnson, the control 5. He's gonna be great. The Cardinals had 4 control 6s and a control 5. They're gonna be interesting. A lot of control.
Well, the Pirates, was that like year that they had like Melicon or whatever?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They got Melanson.
Oh, Mel Lanson, that's what I meant.
They've got, I believe, Hanrahan. Do you remember that guy?
No. Who was the guy that Melanson took over for? I thought there was a guy.
Yeah, so Melanson, and then they had Joel Hanrahan, who's a tier 1 guy who was really good at the turn of the decade.
Huh.
Then you got Justin Wilson, who's a tier 2 control 6. They've got an IP2 guy there who's going to be an absolute stud with his no doubles, and then a couple tier 2 guys in Jared Hughes and Tony Watson. They're going to be an interesting team, except I just think like the Cubs and Brewers and Cardinals. Somehow the Reds have so many points, but their on-base 7s are going to worry people. So you go down here. This looks like the best list to look for when you're trying to pick out who an MVP is going to be. The 21 600-point hitters in the set. If you guys were drafting, who, like, you know, salary cap in a league, which of these guys are you going with?
In a salary cap league?
Yeah.
Judge.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I was like, the Aaron Judge from 2017 is actually really nice.
Yeah.
I don't mind the Ryan Braun one, but at that point, like, do you just go to Trout?
Yeah, I mean, he's so good. That on base 11 homer at 17. I can't wait to try out. There's so many on base 10 homer at 16s, and they're devastating to people.
I think Judge is a 10 at 17, isn't he? But
16.
Oh, he's a 16, and does he
Yeah,
have
he's a 50 home run power guy.
Does he have the plus outfield too?
Yeah, he's +2.
Yeah, so that's the kind of guy. I mean, obviously Cody Bellinger is really good too, but for some reason I was looking at the Judge card thinking, because he's kind of quick and he hits the ball really hard.
Yeah, he's amazing. I really like that Bryce Harper card. The 2015 MVP season is really good, and then last year's Yelich.
Is that the one where you did the red, white, and blue uniform?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen that in my leagues.
Yeah, that one's great. I redid it so it looks nicer, because that was one of the first cards I ever made. But yeah, that one's a stud. I mean, it's hard to pass on Trout when you look at this card here. But for 700 points, basically,
It's crazy that Granderson's third, well, technically tied for second, and he's only a 9.
Well, it's because he has so many triples.
Yeah.
Like he's tripling, I think, at 14.
Wow.
Isn't Batista a 9 too?
Yeah. And so he homers at like 15, and there's some interesting cards in there. I would just steer clear of spending so many points on a 9, obviously, but in a no salary cap league,
Put him in.
it's tempting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really tempting. You know, like, boy, the Blue Jays, I love their youth movement. I'm so excited for this year. You get like, man, I really hope that, next time I'm doing an all Blue Jays whatever, Vlad is pushing Josh Donaldson for a spot.
He's got to make a move. I mean, even Bo and Biggio's kid, Cavan or whatever.
Yeah, Cavan's a beast.
Yeah, those guys are all beasts.
And Bichette, let's go, Bo.
That's right.
And they both made this team, didn't they?
Yep, they're both on it. Pushing
Glad
out, Tulo and Jose Reyes both wanted spots. I was having a vote for him, and it was like, oh, Bo Bichette had a fantastic season.
So let's move down to the tier 1 pitcher. So this is the best of the best, basically?
Yeah, so these are the guys who, the control plus, like, the number of outs on their charts.
Yeah.
So I explained it wrong before. So it's like control 5 has 17 outs.
Mm-hmm.
So it adds to 22. Control 6 has 16 outs, adds to 22. 4 is 18 outs, et cetera, et cetera. So it's interesting, the point distribution here. The 200-point gap between Greinke, who's a control 5, IP7, no doubles from the Dodgers, and Cueto, who's a control 6, gives up a double, only IP4. So it shows a little bit of how much innings pitched and doubles factor into it. But you had a guy like Iwakuma who has 2 doubles for 610. Josh Johnson, 2 doubles, 600 points. But the real beast in here, who I think is going to end up being, I think I picked him for Cy Young. We'll see as we move down. Corey Kluber, for your guys, Cleveland Indians. Card made by Bob himself.
Yep.
Had to put it on.
Yeah, he dominated the leagues if anybody ever picked that card, he always dominated the leagues. But I've never played with the Zach Greinke 700-point card yet. What's that random CC Sabathia card that?
That one's unbeatable.
Okay, I was say because someone had that in the tournament we played, and it was a fucking joke.
It's like a cheat code.
I think didn't Jeff have them or Jeff
someone had it, and I was like, "This is the stupidest." I mean, you couldn't even do anything.
Well, that's how the Brewers made their first playoff appearance in like 20 years. We just rode CC until his arm fell off against the Phillies.
And what's the Josh Johnson card look like? I'd never seen it.
Yeah, so that one's on the Marlins from, and so it's a chart that was made by Colby and them. So I think it's from the 2010 season. And it's control 6 on at 17 because it's tier 1, 2 doubles and 2 singles.
Interesting.
So
he always used to be like a strikeout guy, if I remember.
Yeah, so he's 1 to 7K, 7-inning guy. And from past times, I found a really sweet image to use. So I cut it out so the ball is like dead center, right under the control part, like coming right at you. So I honestly think it's one of the best looking cards in the All Decade League, but it can be so hit or miss based on if he's rolling doubles off his own chart.
Yeah, 2 doubles really scares the crap out of me.
But I remember the last time I did just like a best of league, and I had so many less cards then, but the Marlins were such underdogs, and they ended up tying for the NL East championship with the Mets. Lost the 1-game playoff, and then lost in the wild card to the Cardinals. But Josh Johnson, he got hurt midway through the season, had to be replaced by the shitty Vladimir Nunez card from the original set. And he was pretty good. He had his good games, and he had some real clunkers. But he's interesting. I think Chris Sale is great value at 620.
Oh, yeah.
And that's basically Pedro, right?
Yeah, so that's Pedro 2000, basically, but 1 less IP. So then you've got Clayton Kershaw. So it's like an inning pitch is literally worth 40 points. Mm-hmm. You have Chris Sale, at 620, and then here's Clayton Kershaw, 660 points with the IP7, and Greinke, no double, 700 points. He's the exact same as Pedro 2001.
I love that DeGrom card.
Yeah, DeGrom's a beast.
It's a fun card to
Arrieta
play with
is a
too,
beast.
being like because you're used to seeing like Randy Johnson 3/18.
Yeah.
Having a 4/18 is like, whoa, how's that working? It's pretty dominant.
Yeah. People want the high control and they forget like, oh, crap! If I get my chart and they're out 90% of the time, I'm gonna roll through people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he did great in my league.
He did awesome in mine also.
Yeah, he just got outscored a couple times, like where he'd lose like 2-1 and go 8 innings and stuff like that because he was so good.
That's reality setting in.
Yeah.
Boy, and then
all right, so the relievers.
Here's the tier 0 list. There's only 7, and 2 of them are on the Rays.
I'm glad that the other Kenley Jansen's not on here. The one who gives it the home run.
Yeah, this is the super dominant one from the 2017 season. Running out of things to say about this card. It's so dominant. We saw Zach Britton earlier. Talked about Sean Doolittle. I think this one is, a little better than Britton. I'd rather have the extra out, even though it's one less control. He's so good. The 1-13.
Doolittle's a 1-18 as well, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Does he give up a double?
That's why I don't remember. I just remember being so dominant.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast. I mean, all these guys are almost untouchable.
Oh, good. The prediction. Okay, so let's move right into the predictions.
Yeah.
So this is your predictions first. So break it down.
Yeah. So I'll run through all of them real quick. So in the AL East, controversial. There's no real rhyme or reason for having the Red Sox 4th outside of that. I think all the other teams are really good. Orioles easy pick for last. Yankees just like too much talent in the bullpen and lineup for me to keep them out of the 2-hole. Blue Jays have so much hitting, and I like their starting pitching with Halladay, Price, and a couple other good guys. The Rays pitching is easily the best in the league, I think. I couldn't keep them out of that spot. I think they're going to be really good. AL Central,
How'd the slow Tigers make it?
I ended up picking the Tigers. I like their starting pitching. I'm worried about their speed, but they have so many just like MVP type of guys that I had to take them because they've got 2 legit Cy Young options. They've got some real good bullpen pieces, and I mean, elite Miggy is hard to beat. Like Triple Crown Miguel Cabrera. So they're edging out the Twins and Indians. I think this is going to be the tightest division. I think I've got like a 36-game schedule planned. I literally think the winner of the AL Central is going to be like 20-16. Like a pair of 19-17 teams right behind them. It's going to be right down the wire. I'm with you, Bob, on the AL West. I've got the Rangers winning it. Astros, I have second. Looks like I like the Mariners more than I initially thought. I don't like that. I think the A's are going to be bad too. I mean, honestly, I think the AL West is going to end up hosting a wild card game either way because the Rangers and Astros, I think, have like a clear step up on the rest of the teams. But I think the Mariners, I must have thought they were going to surprise some people with the hitting, and they do have pitchers who don't give up, who can go deep into games with a good bullpen. So who knows? Overall, though, Astros and Rangers, 2 of I think the 3 best teams in the American League. NL East, this was a really hard division to pick. Maybe the toughest one. Because, like we mentioned earlier, Marlins, sneaky good team. And I've seen them have success in the past. So I decided to mix it up a little bit, pick them 3rd. Nationals, I feel like on paper are the best team in the division. But I choke so much with the Nationals/Expos that I just assume it'll happen. Braves, unfortunately, they have a lot of good pieces, but like a lot of just like kind of meh compared to the rest of the teams in the division. Phillies have so much pitching, and then also 50 home run Ryan Howard. Amazing Chase Utley. Get Jimmy Rollins, Shane Victorino, the amazing Jason Worth when he was better than we went to the Nationals. there's just so many good players on this team. Had to go Phillies, edging it out over the Mets, who I think will be really good with all the speed they have in their lineup. I was super tempted to pick them. I think they're going to score a lot of runs, and then they've got a really good rotation. But the weak back end of the bullpen made me step off. Had to pick my boys in the Central out of loyalty, but the Cubs are really good.
Yeah, the Cubs are
and
really good.
I picked the Cardinals last out of spite. So they always end up making the playoffs when I play, but screw them. I hate the Cardinals. And then I went for the real shocker in the NL West because I wanted to go real mix it up. I really think Arizona is going to be a playoff team. They have such a good top end of the lineup, and then guys like Ian Kennedy with the surprise control 6 tier 2 card in the rotation. R2 Bradley had a tier 1 reliever card, another Bob looking guy. And then, when you have Paul Goldschmidt, Tel Marte, and JD Martinez in the heart of the order, I think they're just going to score runs. Dodgers are by far the most points. They are a team without weakness. They are going to make the playoffs. They're going to be really good. Rockies, I think, are going to hang around just because they get to beat up on the Giants and Padres, who suck. So that's my run through of the All Decade League. I'm going to turn it over to Bob.
All right, I was looking sort of similar to Peter on a couple of these things, but I know the Rays were so dominant, but I think the Red Sox lineup is going to hold in the number one spot. But with the Yankees, I think, as Peter said, is just too good of a team to not make the playoffs. Central was a crapshoot. I thought the Indians might win just because of their pitching.
Yeah.
But they're going to lose whoever they play, in the playoffs. The Astros, I think, were the best team in the West, but the Rangers, I kept looking at where does this Rangers team? Because I remember they made it to the playoffs a handful of times, but I didn't remember them being that good. But as I was looking at the cards, I'm like, this team looks really good in a showdown match.
Yeah.
So I snuck them in the wild card, and then in the AL East or NL East, I definitely have the Nationals. They are a stud on paper. The Braves, they looked okay enough to make it. I thought the Cubs were one of the best teams in the NL, and the Brewers were just too good, just especially recently in some of their older cards with the Prince Fielder and the Ryan Braun, and obviously Yelich. I actually thought the Pirates were really good too, so I had them actually ahead of the Cardinals. And let me see one other thing. And then for the NL West, I also had the D-backs up there, but not making the wild card. I think that the Dodgers are just too good. So I'm more showdown on paper than I was voting for. And I think I had the Giants team a little too high, but I just thought the Rockies were their pitching is not good enough.
It's not good.
But I think after, did you go down to the?
We'll get to playoffs.
Okay, I didn't know if they were in here. Okay, good. Never mind.
Yeah,
all right, so yeah, that's who I have making it. So, Matt.
All right, it's kind of funny because ours are all kind of different.
Yeah.
I got the Red Sox winning the AL East, so that's 3 different AL East winners.
No,
I had the Red Sox.
You're the Yankees second.
Yeah, I had the Yankees second.
Oh, okay. I thought he had the Yankees first, and then I got the Rays making the wild card, and I didn't. This division's so tough with those top 3.
Yeah.
And Toronto could sneakily be in there. And it was to me, looking at the Yankees starters versus the Rays and Red Sox starters is where I pushed the Yankees down. And
there will be some of our fans who will vehemently disagree with that pick.
Yeah, well, Garrett Cole's not pitching yet. And
I only know one fan in particular that's gonna be mad.
Yeah, I know exactly who we're talking about. Then I picked the Indians. Almost same reason. Their starting pitching is gonna be really good in that division, and then Royals because of what they did in my Showdown Cup. I was just like, this team seems so similar to that.
I like it.
I'm kind of curious, and then Tigers, they could be really good too. All these teams are good.
Except the Twins pitching.
Yeah, the Twins pitching is going to hurt. The AL West, the Astros, I mean, it's like we said, the 2019 team was the best one that we've probably ever put out.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are on the team.
Yeah.
And then you get to add in like MVP Altuve and just so
Yeah.
many good
And Dallas
players.
Keuchel.
Yeah, and I like Oakland, but I don't know why. I've always liked their teams.
Get John
And
Lester.
yeah, um, it's been so long since I looked at Oakland's team to give you more reasoning than that, but I just picked
That
them.
infield defense.
Yeah, I'm a big guy. If you got 16 infield, how are you gonna score, right?
Yeah.
NL East, I picked the Nationals. I really like that, just their whole setup. Soto and Harper just sounds like fun, and then Rendon.
And Trey Turner's so fast.
Trey Turner, you're the rotation, and
Jason
if you get to
Worth's the
just use
10.
Doolittle, I think the Mets rotation is going to keep them winning a lot. I think like their third and fourth starters are better than a lot of teams' third and fourth starters.
Plus that Jose Reyes that triples at 16.
Yeah, and then you're going to get Pete Alonso hitting a lot of homers. And I feel like they've had a lot of good like single season players that put up good cards.
And David Wright won't be hurt.
David Wright won't be hurt. When I went to the Central, I had to pick the Cubs just because so many 2016 guys.
They're so good.
With the and then you got your Brewers, and then
Yay.
the Cardinals are just gonna be chasing them the whole time. And then out west, I had to go Dodgers, and then I went with the Giants as my like surprise team, just because.
Oh yeah,
I like their starting rotation.
it was a good rotation.
But I think Arizona will be right there, and I think it's because I looked. You told me how you're doing the scheduling.
Oh yeah.
And the Giants were one of the worst NL teams, so they have a good matchup when they go out of the West.
That helps. And then their cross division foe is Oakland.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Makes sense.
That was mine.
All right. Oh. So here's the computer. So it's literally just like head to head, sim sort of like all the matchups in terms of like what's expected. So like each position compared to each other, team to team.
Whoa, the Reds?
Yeah, it's shocking. But the Reds have like a surprising amount of like high points guys. That
I mean, the AL looks good, but man, the Reds and the Rockies have I don't know.
I know. So it didn't take control into factor as much. The Rockies have a good bullpen, and then their hitting is really good.
Huh.
Obviously, so it favored the Rockies. They don't make a playoff spot, but so you got Yankees, Indians, Astros with the Rangers and Red Sox in wild card. Not too surprising, and then Nats, Brewers, Dodgers. Not surprising, but Phillies and Reds. The Reds sneaking in really did shock me, but I mean, they have a good lineup with Shin-Soo Choo, Joey Votto. There's a lot of guys to like on that Reds team. And, you got Johnny Cueto with the IP8, 630 points, leading the way in the rotation. You got Eugenio Suarez from last year with the on-base 9 homer at 16. That really good Zach Kozar card's in there. And I think, like, Todd Frazier and Devin Maserato are in there. And then, you guys put Brandon Phillips' on-base 8 card in over Derek Dietrich, which I'm still flustered about. But and then Bob's like second favorite player, Aquino, whoever the superstar hitter from last year is, who started out as like an on-base 10 homer at 12.
Oh my God, he fell off the map.
He still made it as a 7 homer at 13. But I mean, they've got 3 tier 2 starters, and then Aroldis Chapman is a beast. And then all tier 2s after that. So, I mean, the bullpen's really good, the lineup's okay, and the rotation's pretty good. So, they could hang around, especially when they get to play the Cardinals 6 times. What a dump. So, moving on, we get here to the playoff predictions. Look at my friend Kyle made his picks. He picked the Twins to win the Central, and the rest are pretty standard.
Yeah. Same thing. He's got the Rockies up there in second. Yeah. And the Twins can definitely just win because they're hitting, so it doesn't really.
such a good lineup.
Okay.
So my playoff predictions. I've got wild card. I've got the Astros knocking out the Yankees, and what would be an incredible wild card. And then I have the Cubs beating the Dodgers. And simple, it's going to be the 2015, Cy Young race, and in real life, Arrieta beat Greinke. So happens again. Then because of the weak schedule and getting to play the Giants and Padres, who I think both of those teams are going to suck. I have the Diamondbacks as the number 1 seed because I think the NL West winner is going to be the best record in the NL, and I think the Cubs are going to beat them. And then I think the Phillies are going to beat my beloved Brewers in the other half of the National League. Yale, I've got the Rangers as the 1. I think they defeat the Astros. I think the Rays take down the Tigers in what would be a great pitching matchup. Then I've got the Phillies and Rangers winning in the various CSs. And we've got a matchup between what was the 2011 World Series in the first league. My friends and I ever played with Colby's Cards. We bought the 2011 set and we played it out. And it was Phillies Rangers. And in that, the Rangers beat the Phillies. So I'm taking Cliff Lee to beat his other team.
Yeah, I was going to say, Cliff Lee versus Cliff Lee.
Yep. And you could do Cole Hamels versus Cole Hamels for this matchup, too. But, man, I think that Josh Hamilton card is going to be an absolute beast.
Oh, he's a monster.
Chase Utley's great. Roy Halladay's great. I mean, these are 2 phenomenal teams. I think the Rangers get the World Series they deserved from this decade. And part of that is biased because the Rangers have won the last 2, leagues that I've played. The 2011 one, and then when I played just, everyone put together because they had, Pudge.
They just needed a better manager, not Ron Washington, to...
Yeah, that's another situation where Major League team, if I was your manager, you would not. And so, yeah, that's my predictions. I'm picking the Rangers to sort of surprise the world and win the World Series.
And then we'll go into mine. It will be... So I have the Rangers obviously making it into the playoffs, which I think was really good. And I thought it was a surprise at first until Peter afterward told me that he had Rangers winning, and I was like, oh, maybe the Rangers are better than I thought. But I had the Yankees over the Rangers. The Yankees are so good. The Brewers are stud. The Braves, again, were just a team to throw into the playoffs. The Red Sox, I think, are the best team in the AL, so they're going to beat the Yankees, and then the Astros will just crush the Indians. The Central's is not strong enough to win in an all-decade team, I don't think.
Poor Cleveland.
Yeah, poor Cleveland. The Dodgers were amazing. I think they're going to handle it over the Brewers, and I think the Cubs are the best team, I think, in the NL. And they'll end up beating the Nationals, which is going to be tough because I think the Nationals actually have a really, really good team.
Yeah, those 3 teams are all...
Oh, yeah.
Like a cut above on paper.
And so, again, mine looks very paperistic, looking at statistics, just saying this is how they're going. And obviously, it's going to be rolling, and every team's so good. But I think the Red Sox will end up beating the Astros. I think the Cubs will beat the Dodgers, and I think that's going to be a really interesting game. And I actually think the Cubs, which, being an Indians fan, probably not the best thing to say, but I think the Cubs will beat out the Red Sox. And again, it's mostly driven by their World Championship team, but they're just so good on paper. They look so good.
Imagine at the beginning of this decade, or even better, imagine in 2003 being like, hey, by the time 2020 rolls around and we look back at the 2010s, the Cubs and Red Sox are going to be the favorite to win the
Yeah.
And they'll actually have 1 World Series by then.
Yeah.
So from cursed to blessed.
That's why I like baseball. Well, once the Indians can shake their curse, then we'll be good.
All right, Matt.
All right, so for my wild card, I had the two super small market Rays and Royals.
So we all have different teams in the World Series. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I got the Rays winning that just because if they're putting Snell out there, I think that'll. If you can go Snell in your 2 tier zeros, you should.
Well, yeah, those bullpens.
And then I got the Brewers beating the Mets. I just like the Brewers hitting better at that point. And then for the AL, I got the Astros with the number 1 record.
Yeah.
knocking the Rays out, and then the Red Sox knocking the Indians out. And then for the NL, I got the Dodgers coming at number 1, knocking the Brewers out, and I have the Cubs beating the Nationals like Bob did. And then for the ALCS, I got the Astros beating the Red Sox. I think that'd be a really fun series though.
Yeah.
Who could cheat more? And I got the Dodgers beating the Cubs, so then we got the 2 number 1 seeds, and I think we'll have a great full 7-game series with that.
Man, I mean, both those teams are so loaded.
Yeah, and I just looking at the all-time, like the all-decade Dodgers, like that team is insane.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, going in, I was like, I think 8,000 points is kind of I don't think I can get there with 18-player teams. Just there's not enough points to be had to break 8,000. Yankees came really close, and I was like, oh, man, I can't believe we almost touched that barrier. And then the Dodgers.
Well, don't the Dodgers have 2 or 3 2 IP relievers as well that are really good?
I think just one. But yeah, they have tier 2 Julio Urias.
Right.
But yeah, they've got 3. I think they've got 2 guys who are over 200 points as relievers, and then Urias is 320.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean that helps.
Yeah, Howell and Jansen and.
Yeah, it's like how the Yankees have 400-point Chad Green.
Yeah.
Big boots.
And Betances too.
Which, I did. Good thing you mentioned that, because I think that is one of the weird things about seeing his points on paper, because there's a lot of it is a 600-point discrepancy or whatnot between a lot of these teams, and some of them just have an IP2 guy or two, and that makes a huge difference.
Well, and just like the Reds, how you said Aroldis Chapman, he's 180 points for a 4 out through 18.
Yeah, which didn't make sense, but that's how. So yeah, good on paper pick. It was almost the same as what the computer saw coming. So the computer power rankings, and then they matched up 1-on-1 throughout. And so on paper, the Red Sox, despite being predicted to have the second best record in the NL East, position-based head-to-head, the Red Sox are predicted to win the AL pennant, which was a fun surprise for me. And then the Dodgers smoked them at the end. Dodgers are so good. On paper, the Dodgers are the computer favorite. They think the Dodgers are about to be rewarded for all the cheating they got robbed from them. And my friend Kyle, he also had the same 2011 matchup, but this time the Phillies, who he may or may not have controlled that first season, finally get the win. I think they were his team. And my friend Miles, who never plays, but we use him mostly for the numbers, because we want 5 guys, so we each have 6 teams. He always wins. He never plays. He sets the teams to start, and he's okay, have fun, guys.
It's like my buddy Dom.
Yeah. So Kyle has his Phillies coming back. Once again, we see the Phillies Cliff Lee this time, and then Rangers Cole Hamels, who was really good in 2016. That Ryan Howard's a beast.
Oh, I like that Mike Napoli card. That thing is sick.
I think the Michael, who does all of the statistical analysis and stuff, has him as the best catcher card.
That thing is amazing. On at 4 and just crushing it.
A lot of pop.
Well, I think the best catcher card's got to be Joe Mauer.
I agree.
He's ridiculous.
I think that's the reason he was the MVP. And speaking of, I have that Joe Mauer winning the Silver Slugger.
Oh, funny. It was a good tie-in.
Yeah. So I've got my quick run through. I've got Yelich and Miggy winning MVPs. I've got Cole Hamels as the surprise NL winner because he's the number 4 in the Phillies rotation. So I think he's going to get a lot of favorable matchups that he's going against. And I think he's going to rack up the wins, which obviously don't mean that much. But when the stats are pretty similar, if you've got a guy who's 7-0, hard to give it to the guy who's 3-3. I've got the Blue Jays as my surprise team. I think they're going to contend for the wild card to the very end. And then, I had the D-backs as the number 1 seed, so that'll be a big surprise. Silver Slugger is pretty basic. The guy I think is being overlooked, that D-backs, JD Martinez, is like Pete Alonso, is like that Jose Bautista card. He's an on-base 9, homer at 15. He's going to be trouble for people. And then we're to Matt's awards because Bob didn't make any.
I must have forgot.
Yeah.
I'm busy.
Well, I got for the NL MVP, I got Giancarlo Stanton. Like
You
I
do
was saying,
love
that
him.
card's one of my favorites. And then for the AL, I have Josh Donaldson, who's probably one of my favorite players from the past decade.
Hype
And
for him to be in Minnesota.
I prefer him to be back in Cleveland.
Yeah.
But, you know.
That might be your favorite pennant run card. I almost put it on the team.
I mean, like it just you know, as an Indians fan, it was like, oh, you know, we're not going to pay him money to stay because why would we pay somebody to play baseball for us?
Yeah, I mean,
You know, that's crazy talk. Yeah. But so for the Cy Young, I got that Greinke because I mean he's insane, and then Kluber, same reason.
Yeah.
And for the reliever, I got Chapman from the Cubs based off of things that I saw him do playing with them.
oh yeah.
And same with Andrew Miller. So we'll have a little 2016.
Yeah, I was gonna say
there,
this looks
too.
like just that matchup.
It is. It's the two 2016 guys. And then for AL surprise, I got the Royals, and for NL, I have the Giants. And
Yeah.
then Silver Slugger, I went with the other Twins catcher.
That'd be good.
Just, I mean, I think he's going to hit a lot of home runs in your league. Was it 36 games? Is that what you said?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
like, what are we talking, 12, 15 homers?
That's usually like the record. I can't believe he hit him. And I'll have to look at. I'm pretty sure Larry Walker got to 20
Love it.
in the classic
Fastest
on
man
base
alive.
Fastest man alive.
Larry. He won the MVP pretty easily.
Yeah.
He was
I mean,
an absolute
because
beast.
for my 48 game, I think 10 or 11 was the home runs, but it was
Yeah.
those guys didn't have as much power. So I like him hitting about 12, and then Goldschmidt, I think he'll just do what he normally does, and then Pedroia is second. I completely forgot about Chase Utley, honestly.
Well, yeah, but Pedroia could do it. He's gonna score a bunch of runs.
And then at short, I went with Story. I think you used the 2019 card, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one. Miguel Cabrera. I mean, you can't win a Triple Crown and not make this list.
Mm-hmm.
Yelich and Trout from this year. I mean, their cards were insane. And then Betts from 2018, and then Stanton again.
Oh man. All right, yeah. So Larry Walker hit 20 home runs. Following him was Mark McGwire with 17. And then
In 36 games?
yep, and then Rangers A-Rod hit 15. There's, because it's like the old cards,
Yeah.
and I didn't have as many good pitchers, so the lineups were better, and there was like a couple teams where it's like, eh. But there ended up being 12 guys who hit 12 home runs or more.
Wow.
So, I mean, there was a lot of power, but not as, once every series, basically, and it's, every now and then someone get hot. The big surprise was Fernando Tatis hit 12 for the Cardinals.
Why is that a surprise? He can hit 2 grand slams in one game.
I know, but 18 to 20. I was surprised. Yeah, that's good pick. The computer, just basically picked the best. So like they think the Mariners and Reds are going to do better than expected. It was fun with the
Well, they
silver
picked some of the
sluggers for them,
same
and it
ones
just takes,
as Matt here with Kluber and Miller. And if I
Yeah.
had to pick, I would have picked Doolittle as my national
yeah,
reliever because I thought his card, and he did so good for me when I had him in Matt's league. So yeah, I
had
love
Greinke
that.
and Kluber.
What's up?
I had Greinke and Kluber.
yeah.
Oh, you did. Wow, you're a computer.
And I really love, just to hype you up more, Bob. I love this Kluber card.
It's
Just
fun.
the way it looks. It's really.
It was one of the first cards I made.
Yeah, great cutout. The silver sluggers were fun for the computer because I just took the highest point guy at each position, and Would not have thought that Xander Bogaerts was the most expensive shortstop.
Huh.
Yeah, wow.
That would have been. I don't think that would have been a top 5 guess for me. Like-
What was his points?
550.
Wow.
He was really good last year.
Wow.
Also, shortstop is just not that stacked of a position. But it's like 500-ish points for Trevor Story, 450 for that Jose Reyes, who is probably the best value in all of Showdown. And so you'll see him here if we scroll down to Kyle's picks. That Jose Reyes is an absolute monster. It's a 23 speed, on base 10, single plus at 12, triple at 16.
It's like an overweight Tommy next to him.
That Jim Tomei is one of my favorite cards. I love it so much. Like that old Indians card is really disappointing. Like the old foil one.
The 10 home.
Oh, the regular, yeah.
You mean the 10 walk from 5 to infinity? All he does is walk.
That's what he did here. If he didn't hit a homer, he walked.
But
That's all he
the big
did.
thing is like literally that old Tomei is like 5 to 13, and then I think it's like 14 to 16 single
And
because he like
17
never gets past first base.
Yeah. Well, then I think I made the 0-2 one where he had a 50 home run season,
Yeah, that one's
but it was like homer or walk. Those are your options.
which 3 true outcomes. Gotta love it in today's day and age.
Yeah.
So that's our really long and extended preview.
Yeah.
That sort of goes through the post. Hopefully, it gives a little more insight into our thoughts on it. I am going to the library tomorrow. I've assembled all the printing to be ready to go. So I'm going to get it all printed because my local library prints color pages for 10 cents a page.
Wow.
I know. So I've got 26 pages to print for $2.60.
That's amazing.
You're
I know.
that is value.
Everywhere I go
I,
around here is like 50, 60 cents a page.
Oh, I know. So I am, Showdown small ball in it.
Yeah, that's how you do it. And
And-
well, we thank anybody that listened this long, and you are a true fan if you made it all the way to the end of this. We're about an hour and 15 minutes to the end of this podcast, but it was a great thing that Peter was able to put together, and obviously great work from all the Showdown creators, old and new, to help with the art and stuff for this league. So it actually is pretty cool of a decade of fan art and fan continuation to be able to put this league together and see what Peter can come up with and how the stats are going to look and everything. I think it's an excellent thing, and it was fun to see everyone voting. So you'll have to keep us all up to date with everything on Twitter, etc. So we want to hear about what's happening. I know Matt's going to be keeping us up to date with his league as well. So there's a lot of fun stuff coming up, for everyone, that if you're having a baseball fix that you need until the season starts.
We're about to really give you that itch to scratch.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again, guys. And that has been Bourbon Over Baseball.